So we've checked in for our flight through security pretty quickly. No delays, no queues there, and we're on our way to the Qantas Business Class lounge before our flight to Singapore. Also known as the Dungeon, but there's quite a reasonable spread of food, and at 11:30 in the morning they're actually just changing over between their breakfast offerings and the lunch. There's a bit of hammering going on at the far end of the lounge while we're in there, but the renovations are underway. They're incorporating the old Cathay Pacific lounge into a new, bigger and better. And they've already put out some cold sandwiches and other things, salads for lunch, and lovely looking cake. Unfortunately, I didn't get a slice of. Always time for a glass of fizzy wine before getting on a plane. Boarding on time.
We expect to get underway fairly soon. Just most of the passengers joining us.
And we're in row 4 in the centre 2 seats, which are D and E. So can't really show you the window view, but they're the best if you're travelling with someone. Although these are the business class seats on the A330, and they do have a divider between them which you can't move.
You're flying on a Qantas Airbus A330. Sounds a bit larger than this old girl. It's from the 1930s.
Always think Qantas do a good job of their in-flight safety video. Got plenty of pillow. We've got a thing to cover the seat if you want to go to sleep, and sort of doing a noise cancelling headphones, and the Qantas 100-year celebration pouch for the amenity kit. And today's menu. Just pause here if you want to have a read of what was on the menu, but you'll see our choices very soon. Okay, so the food is finally arriving. It's taken them a little while to get to this point. I think probably over an hour, hour and a half, something like that, before they get around to serving the starter, which in my case is a pea and ham soup. Chicken salad and some sourdough bread, and focaccia, I think, for Max as well. He had a bit of everything from the bread basket. Soup is actually very tasty. Max thinks his chicken salad is really good. So thumbs up on the starters, certainly for lunch today. The main course, I've got a barramundi with some bok choy, and I have to say that the sauce, the fish was really nice, but the sauce tasted, well, a bit strange. I'm not really sure what it was. It was sesame seeds and something, but the sauce tasted a little bit burnt, I think. Maybe it was meant to be like that. And the bok choy wasn't easy to eat as it wasn't cut really very well. As you can see, we're in the centre of Australia by the time we are eating main course. And Max has got a steak and some cream sweet corn, I think. The steak's a bit overdone, but I think it's always really difficult to do a steak on a plane. There's a lot of sweet corn. I think the main courses really are not as good as the starters. They're okay, but and it's time for dessert. So Max has got a rhubarb trifle. First time he's ever had rhubarb. I'm sticking to some cheese. And a glass of dessert wine for Max. So a look at the in-flight entertainment. It's got a really big selection of movies and TV series. You don't think you could really complain about it. I think there's something on there for everybody. It's a really comprehensive selection of things to watch. This is the little snack about an hour before we land. There's quiche and fried rice and some chocolates and ice cream. Wasn't feeling very hungry, so just had a coffee and some chocolate. So that's it. We're nearly touching down in Singapore after a 7.5 hour flight from Melbourne. A little bumpy as we come into land, but see next what we thought of the flight overall.
Okay, so we've arrived in Singapore after our flight on QF35 from Melbourne to Singapore. So overall, how was the flight? It was fine, absolutely fine. It left on time, it arrived actually slightly early, maybe 10 minutes early. The service was good, the cabin crew were really nice and friendly. Lunch, well, lunch took, it was 3 hours after takeoff that they'd finished serving everyone in business class lunch. So that's when we sort of got desserts and the final thing about 3 hours afterwards, which, yeah, is quite a long time. If you're like Max and get on hungry, it's probably too long to wait. So don't get on the plane really, honey. But, you know, it fills up the time. It's a 7.5 hour flight. So, you know, we had lunch. I watched one movie, had a bit of a nap. When you wake up, they were already starting to serve another snack about an hour before landing. And which we didn't really need. There was fried rice, quiche, there was some dessert things, ice cream, chocolate, sort of fruit, coffee, tea, which was good. So overall, it was a really easy, really pleasant flight. You know, yeah. No effort at all. Really makes the journey seem really easy.
And how is your get into the country?
So,
why are we here? Tell it first.
Oh, we're actually on our way to Thailand, so that's why we're here in Singapore. We're just staying one night here at the Crown Plaza at the airport because we were using frequent flyer points for this trip. So it was the Qantas Business Class flight was 68,500 points each. And then tomorrow you'll see we've used our Thai points to get us on Thai Airways from Singapore to Bangkok. But it's, you know, when you're using points, not on the same booking, it's a bit dangerous to try and connect those flights. And I don't think there was another flight later on anyway to Thailand. So we decided to stay one night. Hotels in Singapore are expensive at the moment. The exchange rate's not good with the old Aussie dollar, and things are expensive. I think Singapore's just been named the most expensive city in the world. So, and you know, it's $500 a night to stay here, and we'll show you, we'll give you the room tour of what you get for $500 a night in a moment. But overall, even with the fees, taxes, and one night in the hotel here, it was still a big saving, because also at the moment airfares are very high as well. So overall, worthwhile doing, although it's taking us a bit longer.
Okay. And how you get to the country? Are they easy?
Oh yeah, they're trying out. Singapore are now trying. Well, there's two things you have to remember about Singapore. You used to fill in a white arrival card on the plane and hand it in with your passport. No longer do they do that. You have to fill that in online before you arrive. And you could see some people obviously hadn't done that, and they were scrambling to go online in the arrivals hall to do it. But you can fill it in at home online within 3 days of arriving. So you can't do it very far in advance, but within 3 days of arriving. That makes your entry quite easy. Now they're trying out for certain passport holders, including Australian, New Zealand passports, UK passports. There was a few European countries, Iceland, and a few strange that you wouldn't have normally picked as being their first ones to implement, but all ASEAN. We'll show you that list. Yeah, so Max got in on his Thai passport, no problem. So you go to the e-gate, which is similar to the idea they have in Australia, but these seem very, very slow. The software was very slow. So just like in Australia, you put your passport in at one gate, it recognises your name, opens, you go through, and then look at a machine that matches your photo. But it also asks you to put your right thumb on the pad to take your thumbprint as well. The whole process is very, very slow. You get a spinny wheel for a long time on the screens, and eventually you get in. One or two people obviously got rejected, but had to go backwards. But it was a bit, but you know, by the time we got to the baggage carousel, our bags were coming around on the and we lifted them straight off. So, and we were actually, from getting off the plane through immigration, picking up our bags only took 20 minutes, which really is absolutely incredible. And so Singapore, Changi, you still take the prize for one of the world's most efficient airports. Just incredible. We arrived at Terminal 1, and we just followed the link bridge signs, and we walked to Terminal 3. What did it take us? 10 minutes maybe? Just 10 minutes in a sort of walkway. We had a quick look at the Jewel, the amazing Jewel with the waterfall in the middle, which is connected to Terminal 1 before we headed over to Terminal 3, and the entrance to the entrance to the Crowne Plaza Airport Hotel is just immediately as you come into Terminal 3.